Hi everyone, welcome to Not Gonna Lie People. My name is Dennis.
I'm Natasha.
And today we are going to talk about a really interesting topic. We're going to talk about online dating. We have a special guest. So, ta-da! Today, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hello, my name is Wei En, and thanks for inviting me onto this show. Yes.
So Wei En, we invited you, right? Because out of the three of us, right, you are the online love guru. It's a very small sample size, okay? But you have the most experience, right? So I heard that you were on the apps for about 3 years before you met your wife and you got married this year, right?
That's right.
So
yeah.
Wei En's got lots to share with us today. So before we begin, right, we actually planned a very exciting activity.
Yes, and they told me, right, to prepare some profile pictures. All right, so if I put it on app, right, so will people like me when I swipe them, So
Wow.
I'm going to show you, okay? So it's me wearing a singlet, holding a soft toy, and with my friend's daughter beside me. So cute, right? So maybe this will get the girls to...
Okay, maybe it's the way how you take the photo. Your arm seems to be covering your friend's daughter. Right? But then I could only see you holding that toy and it looks a bit freaky.
Right, and I do a funny face to show that, I'm relatable maybe.
Okay, one good thing about this photo is that it brings out the sunny side of you, right? And it feels very approachable.
Your tongue so cute, your tongue somehow come out to the side.
Like you're a funny guy to hang out with.
Okay, great. So sunny photo works. Okay, I learned that something today.
Okay. Then you try again, okay? Next time you find 2 more photos.
What about yours, Natasha?
Okay, now I'm a bit stressed because I laugh at you. It's a photo of me holding a very, very big oyster in my palm because I want to show them, right, that the world is my oyster and I hold it in my palm. Wow.
Okay, great.
What do you think of this photo?
Okay, the very first thing you did well is that you smile. So that really brightens up the photo, right?
That's right.
And when you're holding that food, it seems like you're a foodie.
I am.
Right, so
That's
it
exactly
definitely
what I
connects
was
with people
looking
who are foodie as well, especially in Singapore, right?
for. Okay, so it looks like we're doing quite well.
Do you have any stories of let's say you see this person on the app, it's like that, you talk to the person online, then you meet face to face, right? The person like, how come you're not the same person as you are online? Or...
I have. So I guess most of people using a dating app, one of the greatest fear is that the person that show up doesn't match the pictures that you see.
Wow, doesn't even match the pictures. Okay.
So I remember there was this date that I went to. I walked into the restaurant knowing that is the place that I'm supposed to meet that girl, right?
Okay.
But I turned out I was looking around, I couldn't see her.
And you're trying to find the photo.
And lo and behold, she was actually just in front of me. I couldn't tell it was her because she looked quite different. And but of course, eventually we had dinner and I thought to myself, okay, do I actually look different to others in my pictures as well? Right? So I guess authenticity sometimes comes from the pictures that you see on the profile as well, right? Because if the first thing you saw just purely from the looks is not the same as the profile, you can also suspect whether this person is genuine or serious about this relationship or not. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So do you think you're authentic?
Good question. In fact, I changed my profile once before.
Wait, why?
Because I realized that throughout my 4 years, I've grown in size.
Okay, no. So the question is, did you change it to better reflect the current reality or to look a bit more like
No,
the
definitely, right? Because your first profile, you look when you're really young, just graduated, and then you don't have much experience putting your profiles and writing your profiles, right? So from the second account, I was more deliberate in selecting my photos, and also
choose those that are a bit wider.
Definitely. Those who know me in uni, I definitely look different now.
Okay, wow. So really, you have grown.
I've grown, yes.
Okay, but that's good because you want to show who you really are.
Yeah, so through the app, it actually gives you the opportunity to put beautiful pictures of yourself or tell people what you're doing, and then it kind of helps you to build onto this identity that you have, which stems out of certain insecurity or low self-esteem that you might have, right? And then you start to realize that, okay, after a while, you just want to be who you are in front of people. And that's where you start to get really tired of using the app.
Sometimes, how do you know whether this person you meet, either through talking and in that first few dates, right, is really who the person is? How do you ascertain the authenticity of that person?
Yeah.
So how do you know it is this is the real person or this is the person who...
It's representative.
Correct. Or you create this person so that you know that it's attractive.
When you're having conversations, you can't really tell who this person is. You just got to have a little bit of faith that, okay, this person say that she loved this or loved that, it's true, right? And whatever impression that person says, for example, I go to church regularly. You just have to take it on the face value, right? So after you meet the person, then you start to get a little bit more through their physical expressions. And sometimes when you're meeting someone face to face, things changes, right? You can't hide behind the screen anymore, basically, right? So when you're saying something, it kind of show you whether this person is sincere about saying it, like, or she loves kids. But then maybe the next moment, the kid walk past and she's very irritated by the kid. So you never know, right? I think it's really, it gives you time as well. After you met on the app, you don't really have to commit straight away. You continue to explore, and it's a bit like face-to-face dating. At the end of the day, you still have to go through the standard process of knowing someone. And through time, I believe you will tell. You will tell whether this person is authentic.
Some people, they get jaded from dating apps because they feel that, wow, I keep meeting someone, tiring, this doesn't work, that doesn't work. Is it my expectation too high? Is it I'm not good enough? They feel and think that way. So they get tired and they drop off. I think you mentioned just now, right? Halfway through you stop. And then what made you stop?
Like you say, right? I also went through that period of dryness. I felt like I was meeting people and I was saying the same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
Right. So that was really tiring. And you also don't know like whether this person, which you have certain hope for, actually became someone that is not suitable after all. So that continuous cycles actually can bring someone to a fatigue.
One of the questions about online dating that I often hear that people discuss about, or I hear about, is that has online dating ruined romance? For example, in the past, right, because I don't use apps, right, and the way that I want to get to know a girl is that I go and approach her, go to her one by one. But now, right, through an app, I can know like 10 person, easily. So it's like, I don't know, people say that this shopping mentality thing. So I wonder so to me, because of that, maybe it ruins or changes the way romance is about, Yeah, I don't know what you think.
For my short 3-year plus experience, I don't think dating...
Which is quite a lot.
Dating app ruins romance. Okay. But I think it's really how the user use it, right? But definitely you're right. It brings out the idea that you have a lot of options and perhaps to a point of a choice paralysis, right? But like, who do I really select at the end of the day?
Is that a good thing?
To me, it's a good thing to have many choices.
Okay.
But the idea is how do you filter them and eventually reach one person that you will commit to for the rest of your life.
So like, Wei-En, for you, right, like out of all the many options, like how did you kind of figure out what you were looking for, who you were looking for, stuff like that?
Okay, so for me, there is a set of criteria that was non-negotiable, right? So the very first thing, because I'm a Christian, so I actually filter out religion as one of the key criteria. Right, so all the options that came to me are Christians. And along the way, as you are also meeting people, you start to know yourself better. And I must say that the apps reveal certain things about yourself that helps you to eventually reach a point where you say that, okay, this is my must-have. Because when you're meeting people, you start to realize that I don't like certain traits of certain people, or I thought I liked this, but actually I didn't really prefer that.
Just now you were talking about how like you have certain non-negotiables, right? I'm quite curious, why did you like decide to, I guess, commit to your wife, who back then was one of the options out of a few, right? Like, how did that happen?
So one of the non-negotiable is that she must be a Christian, right? So the other part, I secretly have this requirement, which I haven't really shared a lot with other people, is that her smile must be really good.
Oh, interesting.
So during my wedding, I said like, oh, she has such an angelic smile. And that was what really attracted me from the first day, and till now it's still the same.
So you met her smile stole your heart.
No, because she chose a good first picture.
Oh,
Picture is the best.
That's a good point.
Oyster.
That's a different world.
Okay, but that sounds really superficial of me, right? Just by looking at someone's smile, I say, oh, okay, she's the one for life, right? But I think more than that, as we start to chat with one another, we start to know about like, okay, how active do we serve in church? Or do we value families, our ties with our family members and all that? Spending time with friends, not just between the two of us, and hobbies and all that. Slowly I start to see that we actually have a lot in common.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So from those conversation and meetups, yeah.
Okay, then I'm curious, right? On her end, right? Was she so sure of you, like, or was there a different story?
Very good question. In fact, I don't think she was sure at all, right?
Okay.
Because from how I did it was a bit different from what I would say most people would do. So let me share a bit more about that. Firstly, I actually asked her out for on dates for 3 times, and on our third date, I actually asked her to delete the app.
Wow.
On the third date with her.
Yes, because I was thinking, you know what, we like what you mentioned earlier, right? So sometimes we have so many choices. So my thought process was that, okay, why not we stay focused on one person first and really find out whether you like this
No
person
more
or
shopping.
not. No more shopping. Be very serious about this person that you're considering. And if that is someone that you really think has a huge potential and you want to take this forward, so then it can move to another stage, right, of looking into marriage and all
Then
that.
what did she say?
So at first she was hesitant. So I took like the whole night at the Gardens by the Bay to,
Convince
to
her?
share this concept to her. And eventually she said, okay.
Wow.
But after that, I was asking her and she told me that her friend thought that I was a bit a freak. Like to suggest this kind of thing, and they were heavily telling her not to do so, but still she thought it makes sense not to go into this shopping mentality.
I want to go back to the shopping mentality because I think that's one of the big things, or that's one of the big gripes that people have. Like, I guess speaking as a female, I have girlfriends who always do feel a little bit uncertain when they're talking to a guy because there's always that fear, right? Like, how many people, like, is he talking to at the same time? Am I just one of the options that he may just drop along the way? But maybe online dating exacerbates it, is that you tend to carry this idea that there can be somebody who is perhaps a perfect or close to perfect match. And so you just kind of keep waiting for that person to come along, right? You may have somebody that matches a lot of things that you're looking for, but eventually, like, maybe there's this one or two things, then you kind of, I guess, decide how important it is to you. But maybe there's somebody else that will better, meet my needs or like match what I'm looking for.
Because at the end of the day, I think is that the dating app is a facilitator. It allows you to meet people that you couldn't have met in your life if you didn't use the dating app. And a good example is my wife. I don't even think I would meet my wife if not for the dating app. Yeah, but as you go through the journey of finding someone through the dating app, you must be careful with how you look at all these options. To me, it's not about how many options you have. It's what you do to the options that really matters, right? Because for me, I believe that a relationship is not a love at first sight kind of thing, right? It is romance is always a work in progress. And you need to put in a lot of hard work to it. So once you really have your non-negotiable and sometimes even good to have met, right, your criteria, stick to them, continue to understand who this person is, and eventually when you know that this is the right person for you, everyone has flaws, no one is perfect, but stick to it and grind your way through and make this person the one instead of finding the one.
I think at the end of the day, the idea is commitment, right? Like at which point you commit, at which point you decide that, okay, this is what I'm looking for, I know what I'm looking for, and I commit when I find it, then I make it work lah. Yeah. So yeah, maybe it doesn't really ruin romance in that sense, but it really just depends on how we use it and how we approach it.
I think that's good. Yeah.
I feel the worst feeling is like when you match with somebody and then like you meet them, right? And after that they ghost you, or after that they decide that they don't want you. And if you've had like, I guess, like you've been in such situations, I hope you remember that like just because someone did that to you doesn't mean the problem is with you. Actually, maybe it reflects more on them that they
doesn't
will
mean
do
that you're
something like that to
unlikable.
you.
Doesn't mean you're unworthy.
Correct.
Yeah, in fact, it's true. I mean, when you use the app, you just have to be prepared that there will be people who might do some nasty thing to you. Like, I think ghosting is really one of the things that appears rude, right? Especially when you have certain hope for something to happen. Right, so don't put it on yourself, but I think it's good to talk about it. Find maybe your friends who you can share openly with your dating experience. And as you are talking to your friends, I think you can also slowly find out from your friend, is there something wrong that you have been doing through these dating apps? Or maybe also reveal certain personality about yourself that perhaps your friends can help to confirm, right? Am I behaving in a weird way, or do I know how to handle a certain difficult situation well? I think these are pointers that we can take away from. And most importantly, I think remain humble, right? Because every dating experience is, like what you said earlier, is really about yourself, revealing like who you are, and it helps you to become a better person. So let's continue to learn, and I believe you'll eventually find someone that really appreciates you for who you are.
Wow. As you're saying, right, this thing came to me, right, is that we all talk about whether online dating has ruined romance. And I think now that I hear you and hear the experiences that you're saying, right, it seems like it may not really ruin romance, but if used well, if you go in with the right expectation, through it, you even learn romance. You learn what you want. You learn what about yourself better, you're saying. And hopefully we can reflect and think about, hey, why do I get rejected? Or why was it good? Why was it so tiring? If you reflect about that, maybe it might even make us better and choose better and be a better person. Be the one that's better.
Okay, so if you are currently in the online dating sphere, press on. Know that your identity is completely not tied to how people respond to you, but at the same time, persevere. We really hope that you find somebody that you connect with and you get to know on a deeper level. So tell us your online dating stories. Leave them in the comments, write in, and we would love to hear your stories. If you enjoyed this episode, you can like, subscribe to our channel, and share it with a friend who would be interested in this. So once again, thanks Wei En for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
If we ever have an online dating part 2, we will get you back. Okay? If y'all like Wei En, let us know too.
We'll see you in the next episode. Bye.